Hello. The video you're about to see has been classified 18, which means that it may contain strong scenes of sex and violence, which could be quite graphic. Viewers who are easily offended are warned that it may contain some very explicit language, which may frequently mean the use of sexual swear words, such as bollocks, wanker.
You know what they say about horror movies? If a series goes on long enough, you eventually end up in space. So I've brought the show into low Earth orbit. So with that said, let's get on with the show. Okay, first one, Cannibal Holocaust. Well, I haven't seen this. I'll put that there straight away. The reason I haven't watched it is because of the animal cruelty. I don't really want to see animals being killed for real. But this is a bit of a notorious movie. It was on the Video Nasties list. And now it's available on Amazon Prime to watch for free. Yeah, and the sky hasn't fallen in. Civilization hasn't collapsed. So, yeah, what a waste of time that was. Okay, Child's Play. Yeah, I'm just going to give that an average. I haven't seen all the Chucky movies. It's a bit of a latecomer to the slasher craze, really. So I never really got into him as much as Jason and Freddy. And I found this movie a bit tame. Child's Play 3, another movie that got banned. It's been overturned now. Yeah, the reason it was banned was just completely stupid. It was blamed for an actual murder because the people who did it watched Child's Play 3. I actually studied this case at university. The film had nothing to do with it, just didn't even come up. There was some very serious institutional failures that were behind it, and for journalists it's far easier just to find a scapegoat like a movie and just say it's all the fault of this movie, and rather than actually do some work and challenge the establishment and the institutions responsible for it. But you'd have to get off your fat spotty arse and actually do some work if you were going to do that. It's just far easier just to blame all our problems on movies and video games. It's just stupid. A Clockwork Orange, another movie that, well, it didn't get banned, it actually got withdrawn. And it was withdrawn by Stanley Kubrick because people were so offended by the violence in the movie, they threatened his family. So, yeah, that's really clever. I'm so offended by pretend violence, I'm going to threaten actual violence. That's just the kind of stupidity I've just come to expect from these people. Anyway, the movie itself, I've put it in the classics section. Absolutely love this movie. I watched it initially. I bought a pirate copy. I bought it at a film festival. It was being sold amongst all the Video Nasties, all the other movies that got banned. I was quite young at the time. Bored me stupid. I thought it was just an incredibly boring movie. Then it got a re-release. I think it was after Kubrick's death. It got re-released. Went to see it at the cinema. I thought, yeah, it's a bit more interesting. I cottoned on what the themes of the movie were. I was still a little bit bored by it, but I thought, yeah, it's a better movie than I remembered it. Yeah, then when it's got its DVD release, then I bought the Kubrick box set, watched it again, just laughed my arse off all the way through the movie. Just thought it was brilliant, absolutely loved it. It was like on the third time I got the joke, and I didn't even realise it was meant to be a comedy. It was like I was watching a completely different movie. I love it when that happens. I love it when I change my mind about movies. I said the same before about The Exorcist. That was another movie I just found really boring. So sometimes, I can change my mind about movies. So if you think I've misjudged any of these movies and rated them too low, I'm completely open to having my mind changed about films. But Kubrick has just become, I think, probably my favourite director. So I got The Shining's up there. I think everything he did since The Killing is a classic movie. The Shining, I watched that on a 14-inch TV. It still scared me. I think he's a genius to my mind. Cloverfield Paradox, haven't seen it? apparently it's not worth watching, so yeah, J.J. Abrams can stick that up his mystery box. Conjuring 2, said before, I just kind of checked out of James Wan after Dead Silence. I've never seen any of the Conjuring universe movies. Maybe I should give it a go. I know there's a lot of fans for the Conjuring movies. I think the Conjuring just came out on Netflix, so maybe I'll give it a watch. Don't Breathe. Yeah, I quite like this movie. Stephen Lang's great in it. It was a lot more tense than I expected, a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought the ending lost it a bit towards the end. I thought it got a little bit mean-spirited. But yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. King Kong. The original. Yeah, another classic movie. I mean, I love stop motion. I just think stop motion looks great. I just love it. It's one of those things I never see the joins. When I see it in movies, it just looks terrific. I don't know if it's the movement or there's just something about it I absolutely love. I think this is a great movie, King Kong. I absolutely love it. Oh boy, Human Centipede. I have seen this. It's not a great movie. I mean, if you've seen the trailer, you've seen the movie basically. Watching the movie really adds nothing. It's a bit like Snakes on the Plane. It's kind of like the movie in your head is better. It's one of those things that if they'd released the trailer as one of those fake trailers, it would have been a really good short movie. But yeah, watching the whole movie just really doesn't add anything at all to the experience. Dieter Laser's kind of fun, just in the way he really hams it up, but yeah, not a good movie. And now it's time for another rant. Human Centipede 2. It got banned. It got overturned, but for a while it was completely banned. They said it was impossible to edit anything out of the movie to make it acceptable. It got an 18 certificate when it came out. As a grown-ass adult, our elders and betters decided that we were not capable of even handling a single frame of this movie. So I'm just going to throw up a single frame from this movie. Okay, that frame that we're looking at, that was considered to be too much for your eyes to see. You could not handle that, even as over 18. You could be 60, 70 years old, and your life experience had not prepared you to handle looking at this single frame. I see what they mean. You just look at that frame and you can just feel your urge to kill rising, can't you?
Urge to kill rising.
Just absolutely ridiculous, these idiots that censor movies. And just to prove the point, I've got a list here. It goes all the way back to 1895, the very beginning of cinema. And it's a list of everybody who was killed because somebody else saw a movie, and simply just by seeing that movie alone, they decided to go and kill somebody. So we're just going to take it year by year. We're going to read out a list of everybody who died. So, okay, 1895, no one died. 1896, no one died. 1897, no one died. 1898,
In 1983, no one died. In 1984, no one died. In 1985, no one died. In 1986, I could go on. No. Right.
Yeah, what a bunch of smooth brain idiots. Hopefully that's the last banned movie I'll be talking about. Okay, Drag Me to Hell, Sam Raimi. Yeah, I like this movie quite a bit. Not as good as Evil Dead, I think, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It's another horror comedy. It's got some really gross out scenes in it. There's some digital that's a bit shaky, but the cast is great as well, and there are some really funny moments. Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. Creep, the found footage one. I haven't seen this. I was checked out of found footage by the time this came out, so I just never watched it. I don't know if it's any good. I think there are some people who quite like it. Tale of Two Sisters. I haven't seen this. I would like to see it, actually. There's a lot of great movies, genre movies have come out of Korea in the last 20 or so years. But yeah, I've just never got around to seeing it. Donnie Darko. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen this, and it's been getting some backlash, but I'm going to put it up here in the A category. Now, when this came out, it was people absolutely loved it. People were going crazy for this movie when it came out, and it seems to have got some backlash, and I don't know if that's people are reappraising it because the director's career's kind of fallen apart. The only film I've seen of his since was The Box, and that was really quite bad. I haven't seen the director's cut of this, and I refuse to watch it. I've heard some things about it. It sounds to me almost like it was a movie that was saved by its editing. By not explaining it, it was more interesting by people coming up with their own interpretations. But as I said, I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember really, really loving this movie, being absolutely blown away by it. Yeah, I'd say it's been a while, so I haven't had a chance to reappraise it, but last time I saw it, really loved it, so I'm going to leave it there. Carnival of Souls. I've seen this. I saw this at a re-release at the cinema. I remember it being fine. I remember having a bit of a creepy vibe. I think it was a bit B-movie in the sense that, it wasn't like a masterpiece or anything. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Brightburn. Haven't seen it. Night of the Living Dead. Yeah, I mean, I love all three of the original Dead films. I think they're all classics. I mean, this is, well, it gave us the modern day zombie, for good or bad, but any movie that has such an incredible influence like King Kong, it just deserves its classic status. Great movie. Dracula's Daughter. Haven't seen it. Elvira. I unapologetically love this movie. I just think it's great. It's cheesy, and it knows it's cheesy. It's B-movie making at its best. It's like the jokes are like dad level jokes. It's like the movie knows what it is, and it winks at the camera all the time, and I just think it's hilarious. I have so much fun watching this movie. Yeah, and I'm not going to apologise or justify it. I just think it's hilarious. It's almost, I wouldn't say it's so bad it's good, but it's like it knows what it is. It knows the jokes are bad, but it makes a joke out of how bad it is. So yeah, it's kind of meta, and I love it. I mean, I know it's got its knockers, but I think it's a great movie. I love it. Eraserhead, David Lynch. I love David Lynch. He's another one of my favourite directors. I absolutely love this movie. Some people accuse him of being surreal for the sake of it. I don't agree. I think his movies are incredibly meaningful. I love every single one of his movies. I don't think he's made a dud. I even like June as well, and maybe one day I'll talk about it, but I think he's just a great filmmaker. Absolutely love Eraserhead.
Cool, VHS of Eraserhead. This'll be good for when I never want to sleep again.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original. Yeah, and another great movie. I think it should go in the classics. I mean, this is like a 50s movie, and we're still talking about it. I think it's just one of those great themes that the movie has, that idea of loss of identity. It's absolutely timeless. I mean, the only reason I was hesitating is because of that final scene where the studio wanted a sort of happy ending to it. I think it would have been better without it, but yeah, it's such a great movie. It is timeless. It does deserve its classic status, I think. Get Out. Yeah, that's a good movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Another one that balances its comedy really well, I think, with the horror. Ghost Stories. Yeah, I really like this movie. I think it's a really, really interesting film, and very, very creepy. I found it legit scary at times. And Andy Nyman as well, who I believe he wrote it as well as starred in it. Some really interesting ideas where he examines skepticism. And Andy Nyman, in his real life, he's quite a well-known skeptic, and he's written a film that sort of explores the limitations of skepticism, which I think is just, yeah, it's a really good movie. Godzilla. Lots and lots of hate for this movie. I'm going to stick at an average. I know some people would just probably put it as a complete fail, and I don't completely hate this movie. You know, it's Roland Emmerich. He did Independence Day. People love Independence Day, and I believe this was the movie that came straight after it. I think people were expecting another Independence Day. I think people overrate Independence Day, to be honest. Not because I think it's a bad movie. I think again, Independence Day is B-movie schlock with a big budget. It did really well. It was quite groundbreaking at its time because the kind of level of destruction that we saw in that movie, like, we hadn't seen a big disaster movie like that. Now it's very commonplace, but at the time it was quite groundbreaking. I remember the scene where the Statue of Liberty is destroyed and the entire cinema just gasping because they just couldn't believe what they were seeing. These days we're very, very used to it. And I think people just thought, this Independence Day is this amazing movie. And it's like, yeah, it's fun. It is an enjoyable movie, but it's B-movie. It's not a great movie. And Godzilla isn't a great movie. It was just B-movie schlock. I didn't really hate it as much as a lot of people did. I didn't think it was a great movie, but then I didn't think Independence Day was a great movie. I thought it was just a silly, diverting, schlocky movie with a budget, and I felt pretty much the same way about Godzilla. Yeah, it's just a piece of schlock, and, you know, if you're open-minded, you might have a good time for a couple of hours. And Godzilla, the more recent one, again, I'm going to rate that much the same. This could have been really good. I mean, I was quite excited when the advert came out, but it was just boring. I mean, that's why I can't really dunk on this. This wasn't boring, this Godzilla. I could never level that accusation at it. It was not boring. This was boring, but yeah, a better filmmaker. But, you know, you don't need to hide the ball with Godzilla. I mean, I understand with some movies that they hide the monster for a big reveal at the end, but we all know what Godzilla looks like, so why are you hiding it? We go to watch monsters punch each other and you blue-balled us for 2 hours. Anyway, moving on. Grave Encounters 2, I haven't seen it. Other found footage. Gremlins. Been a very, very long time since I saw this film. Yeah, I'm gonna put it there. Yeah, I saw it not long after it came out. Yeah, I remember it being fine. I enjoyed it. Big smash hit, and I remember people really strangle wanking about it when it came out. I thought it was just fine. But when the sequel came out, Gremlins 2, I just immediately fell in love with that movie. And I've seen Gremlins 2 many more times over the years. And I do rate Gremlins 2 a lot higher than I do with this one, but yeah, I thought it was fine. Halloween, original. I was a bit of a latecomer to this film. I'm going to give it an A. It is a good movie and it was groundbreaking. I think even though it wasn't the first slasher, it was the one that really started the craze. But I was already well into like Freddy and Jason before I came to Halloween. So I think it does deserve some praise, but for me, from my experience of watching it, I felt like I'd seen it all before. But yeah, it is very inventive. I think there are a few problems with the movie, but there's a lot of inventiveness and creativity behind that film. Hereditary. I did like this quite a bit, but I did feel like it was something where I could sit there with a bingo card and check off like other horror movies that I'd seen. So it is a bit of a magpie of a movie, but I think it is incredibly well done. But I just hope the director develops a bit more of his own voice and originality. But I definitely like Toni Collette's brilliant in it, another of my favourite actors. I think she's just terrific. Yeah, good movie, but yeah, not the most original movie, I'd say. Hostel. Yeah, I'm gonna give that a C. Not really my type of film. I don't mind torture porn. It's not my favourite subgenre. I don't mind it, but I don't think the characters are interesting enough for me really to keep me involved. I need a bit more, I think, from a film than just gore for the sake of gore. So yeah, it's fine. I remember preferring the second one a little bit more. Thought that was a bit more interesting, but yeah, just leave it there to see. Hush. Yeah, I've seen this. I thought it was fine. Yeah, the gag is that it's a home invasion and she's deaf, so she's at a disadvantage to the guy who's stalking around her house. It reminded me a bit of the name's escaping me. I'll flash it up on screen. There's an Audrey Hepburn movie where she's blind, which I thought was an absolutely terrific movie. I thought that was a little bit better done than this movie, but it's fine. It's okay. Worth a watch. Watership Down. I've never seen this. Inferno. So I'll talk about these now. These are the 3 Dario Argento films I've been saving up. These are a loose trilogy called the Three Mothers trilogy, and I'm planning to do a review of these. Like The Grudge, I'm not going to shoot my bolt now and rate them. I can say Mother of Tears, I haven't actually seen that yet because I have fallen out with Dario Argento. I don't know what's his recent movies have just been terrible, so... But I will watch it because I want to complete this trilogy and I will talk about it. It, the miniseries, haven't seen it. It, the movie, I have seen it. Yeah, I'm going to put it above average. I did like it quite a bit. I thought the cast was great. The kids were great. It was almost like 2 movies. Like if you cut out all the horror scenes, it really reminded me of those 80s summer comedy movies. It captured the period it was set in brilliantly. And then it was almost like there was these horror scenes spliced into a summer comedy. And I thought some of the build up to the horror was really good, but I didn't feel like when the scare scenes actually came, they delivered on the build up. But that might have just been... I did have a really bad cinema experience with this. I talked before about Paranormal Activity, which is almost the opposite. When you had the entire audience completely on board. It's like this, I just sat in a screen where people were talking, laughing at the wrong moments, and I don't know whether that killed the tension in the movie for me. It didn't really work as a horror movie. Just because it didn't stick the landing with the scares, I thought. But yeah, there's definitely some good things to say about it, I think. Legion, haven't seen it. And 9, I haven't seen that. Mandy, I have seen this movie. And I absolutely loved it. It's mad. It's mad. I mean, this is basically, it's Nick Cage doing the full Nick Cage. And I'm always there for it. For Nick. You could not see anybody else in that role. Like, the cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. And there's so many creative shots in it. It was a little bit slow on the first watch, I thought, but once you know what kind of movie you're getting, I just thought it was absolutely terrific. Yeah, great movie. Not for everybody, but I loved it. Mark of the Vampire, Todd Browning movie, which I haven't seen. One he actually directed after Freaks, even though some people insisted that the Freaks was Todd Browning's last movie. This was made after it. Yeah, I should catch up with that movie. I did love Freaks so much. Misery, I have seen this movie. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think Kathy Bates in this movie was terrific. And James Caan as well. You know, James Caan's a great actor. Yeah, a good movie. I enjoyed it. It has been a long time since I've seen it. I don't remember it being... I don't think it was particularly scary, but I think the performances were just terrific. I think I'm right in saying that she got an Oscar for it. And if she did, very well deserved.
Danny, whatever you're thinking about doing, please don't do it. Penny, for God's...
Shh, darling. Trust me.
God's sake.
It's for the best.
Penny, please!